Former Justice and Development Party, AK Party, senior official Ertuğrul Yalçınbayır has warned that any bureaucrat who fails to comply with a ruling from the country's constitutional court overturning the illegalization of private exam preparation schools, also known as dershanes, will have committed a crime. Yalçınbayır, the AK Party's founding Secretary-General and a former Deputy Prime Minister, said that it is legally an obligation for all public officials to obey the top court's ruling or they could be charged with violating of the Constitution. The former AK Party official also said that the country's prosecutors need to take action against those who seek to prevent the top court's ruling from being implemented. On July 13, the Constitutional Court announced its long-awaited decision on the law closing prep schools that was passed by the AK Party government, ruling to annul it by a 12-5 majority vote on the grounds that the law represented a violation of constitutional articles related to the right to education and free enterprise. The court's reasoned decision was published in the official gazette in late July. The court also stated that dershanes cannot be closed down unless adequate alternatives are provided. However, despite the court's ruling, some pro-government figures and the Education Ministry have claimed that prep schools are still unable to legally operate. But since the Education Ministry last year removed all articles in the private educational institutions law related to the establishment of prep schools, it now needs to make new amendments to it and once again add the criteria concerning the prep schools. Due to high interest from parents, some prep schools have already begun enrolling students, while others are waiting for the Education Ministry to make the necessary amendments. The AK Party decided in November 2013 to shut down or transform, as the government argues, private prep schools, stirring a massive debate and attracting huge criticism from families and education representatives. The AK Party's bill was put to a vote and passed by Parliament in March 2014 and was signed into law by then-President Abdullah Gül. The law, which stated that prep schools would be allowed to operate until September 1, 2015, was challenged by the main opposition Republican People's Party, CHP, at the Constitutional Court last year on the grounds that it was a blow to the right to free enterprise. The prep schools that turned into other educational institutions before the Constitutional Court's ruling will not be influenced by the change and will be able to operate. If the court's ruling is ignored, those violating it will face legal sanctions. The law ordering the closure of dershanes was widely seen as part of the AK Party's witch hunt against the Gülen movement, also known as the Hizmet movement, a civil society initiative inspired by Turkish Islamic scholar Fethullah Gülen that focuses on education and interfaith dialogue. Gülen became the target of the AK Party following the eruption of a corruption scandal in December 2013 in which senior government members were implicated. Then Prime Minister and current President Recep Tayyip Erdoğan accused the movement of masterminding the probe to topple the government and has since targeted those who support Gülen's ideas. Police raid closed prep school. A branch of the Gülen-affiliated Fem Prep School in Eskişehir's Sivrihisar district was the target of a government-backed operation on Saturday. 8 public officials from various public institutions accompanied by police officers went to raid the school, only to find out that it had closed down in June in line with the government's decision. The public officials, who had come from as far as 100 kilometers away, were faced with an empty building. A former employee of the prep school told the officials that it had closed on June 23 and that the school's administration had sent a formal notice to the governor's office, the Provincial Education Directorate and other relevant state institutions regarding its closure. Salamat Sen, a lawyer representing the Fem Prep schools, told today's Zaman on Sunday that the incident was just comedy. If they had asked us before, the public officials would not have gone there for no reason, he said. In a similar development, schools belonging to the private Samanyolu educational institutions chain and some Fem Prep schools were subjected to inspections from 8 different public agencies in Eskişehir on Friday. Police officers accompanied the public officials during the inspections. Private Samanyolu educational institutions are also affiliated with the Gülen movement. Despite repeated requests from the lawyers of the schools, the public officials failed to provide any official documents related to their inspection. Some officials told the lawyers that they had performed the inspection after being invited to do so by the police and insisted that they did not have any information about who gave the order for the inspections.